Hi, it's Detangler with your Daily Detangler on embracing uncertainty. Are you scared yet? When it comes to embracing uncertainty, there's three things that on the team that are working really well for us. One is creating a fresh perspective. Two is focusing on the right inputs. And three is being bold. When I talk about creating a fresh perspective, what's really important and what's really at stake? Think about that as you're engaging in the work. Focusing on the right inputs. Where does your inputs where do your inputs come from? Where do your insights come from? What's your source of inspiration? And then when it comes to being bold, um, are you getting paid to fit in on the team, or are you getting paid to contribute value because of your unique skill set or vision, and or both? Do you lead or do you follow? And when you're a leader, when you put yourself out there, you have to be bold. So when it comes to get perspective, here's what's working. The first one is people have to get over themselves. I was talking to Scott, and he was sharing a story about Joe, and how Joe was after a call with a client, was saying, "Oh my gosh, was a great call." And Scott texted Joe and said, "Who does that? Who does this type of call where we're able to engage and we're able to try something new?" And Joe responded back and said, "Did I screw something up?" So while Scott was excited and was saying, "Wow, this event was awesome. This meeting was awesome. Who does these types of things?" Joe was saying, "What did I do? Did I mess something up?" And I think that's the paradox of being engaged and doing something new. And it's really important to ground yourself in perspective. And sometimes that means getting outside of your own head. It's okay to fail. And as Marshall Goldsmith said, all you have to do is fail forward. As long as you're failing forward, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm reminded of a story where some young engineer made a huge blunder, and it cost the company millions of dollars. And the guy went and tried to resign, and the CEO said, "Why would I let you resign? I just paid millions of dollars for your education." Right? So get over yourself, separate your ideas from your identity. Be creative. When you're trying to be creative, that means you're going to have to put yourself out there. And the nature of putting yourself out there today means you're going to take the arrows. It's just part of it. And that's because it's way easier to consume information than it is to create information and create knowledge. Everybody in this type of work is in the creation business. That means everybody that is not creating has a chance to take a shot at and provide feedback. You have to get used to it. The workplace is also wired to identify what's an outlier, or who's an outlier, or what's not working and what's wrong. And I think that's also part of this as well, to think about how are these things playing out in your own team and in your workplace. The second thing that's working is focusing on the right inputs. Think about it. What's easier to talk about? What's working or what's not working? Scott often says we have a lot more words to explain what's wrong with something or what's not working versus the sheer volume of words that are positive, and or the volume of words around defining what good looks like. So with that said, we're just wired to rip things apart. So you have to focus on the right inputs. So by that I mean, where are your inputs coming from? Are they coming from your own head, your own self? Or are you going to get inputs from observing the impact you're having, or observing the experience you're creating? That's critical. Those inputs are important. And then also, when it comes to focusing on the right inputs, oftentimes we get stuck on creating. When we put ourselves out there to run a meeting or try some sort of new idea or new type of delivery, or even present something, we might get stuck. And I talked to a friend of mine who was sharing how he has to create something and he just stares at his computer. So I told him it's not because he has an output problem, it's probably because he has an input problem. Change your inputs, you can change your outputs. The last thing is be bold. Remember, we're doing and we're working on something new. This something new, you have to realize the dramatic nature of this doing something new. There's so many people that are just continuing to do what they've always done. So be bold to break the chains of what everybody else is doing. Own your role and own your point of view. Even if you think it might be a little weak, or if you think that it might be a little fragmented or not thought out, remember the second point. What are your inputs? What impact are you having? And really own your point of view and realize that your contribution does matter. And then trust your teammates. Your teammates are on the team for a reason. When you put yourself out there, they're going to have your back. And that's important to remember too. So what principle comes to mind here as we talk about these as principle number 4? It's trusting the process. Trust the process of the selection of yourself as part of the team. Trust the process of how we work. Trust the process of putting yourself out there. Trust the process of finding feedback and giving feedback. And trust the process to find out what really is resonating and what experience you're creating. And that's really important. And so what does this have to do with being on the team? Well, the world that we're in has a lot of challenges and problems. That's a given. You're put here on the team to change that and tackle those challenges. And I like to tell people all the easy challenges are solved. We get the hard ones. So this is going to be hard, and keep your perspective and keep engaged. There's no way that you can do this all by yourself. There's no way that you can tackle this by yourself. So stop taking it all on yourself and rely on your teammates. Flip it around when you get that uncertainty. If you get that uncertain feeling or that hint of doubt, flip it around and say, how do I engage? How do I be heroic? Let me be smart about this and put myself out there and see what happens. And that's how you can overcome uncertainty, is by engaging in the reality. That's been the Daily Detangler. Thanks for your time. We'll see you on the next one.